Thanks for joining the channel here over at SubScribestar, the various other links. So this is just one example out of a few. I'll go through them at the end of people getting fired, at least in the comic industry. And they wouldn't fire them except that they're just getting so much social media pressure. Because these people are making, well, they're making their posts public, but they're also doing these little videos, like TikTok type of videos of them, mostly women, actually, kind of like attention whoring. It's just kind of dumb, but they're doing these like little dances when they're showing how they don't care that somebody was brutally murdered in live on TV because of political differences. Someone who opened valued the open marketplace of ideas, and they're coming across as sociopaths. And there are even people on the left are looking at this and go, oh, yeah, that's the first I was on the left and I said, these people aren't us. This is just a small group of people. And then you look around, you go like, oh, there's quite a few of them. And is the left going to speak out against this kind of sickness? And they're not. And then the more you see it, at first it is just a black hole. It's sinking in a black hole. But then you see so much and you realize, oh, there's no fixing this. These are irreconcilable differences. And the best thing would be a amicable parting of two belief systems, because they think like the right winger goes online, the 4chaner groiper, and uses racial epithets is the same as somebody who laughs at somebody getting murdered. And in their minds, because they're so brainwashed by a lifetime of Hollywood, they think those two things are the same thing. So comic book people being fired for insane, violent fantasies, and I'll use this as an example just because this person has such a unique look to them. So this news depends on what source you read it from, the Mary Sue or the John Trent side of comics, because I went and read both, and the Mary Sue is absolutely ridiculous. The Mary Sue mentions that this monstrosity is some sort of rainbow something, which I'm not sure why that matters or why I would care about their imaginary pronouns. But the Mary Sue mentions the comic, and this abomination was suspended from Blue Sky. And Blue Sky is actually suspending a few people, which I think the left wing thought Blue Sky was further left than it is. But they can't, I guess they don't want people on there actually advocating illegal activities. And they said that this person said something about J.K. Rowling, but oddly enough, they don't include what the comment was, which is weird when you're writing a news article to not have any details in the Mary Sue article. Then they mentioned some comic and that it was canceled for some wacky reason, something to do with Charlie Kirk, and maybe some comments that might have been vaguely in reference to them. And that's the end of the Mary Sue article. There's no more details than that. Just that a comic has been canceled, but they didn't include what the this person had written. Then the Phantom Menace article explain the comments, which are just what you expect them to be, just sick. I mean, sick. And this specific community, has a lot of darkness in it, a lot of very serious mental illness. And the left has a mental health issue in general, and they've had it for a while. And the problem is they've painted themselves into a corner where they have to accept anything and everything because liberals get the bullet too. They've even did a 180 on prawn and ladies of negotiable affection, which most people wasn't that long ago would look at that and go, yeah, that's not good. People engaging in that adult activity. It's like most people agree that this is a bad thing, and it's like honestly, it's kind of weird that there's a small collective group of lawyers who are very active in making sure that small towns had these prawns being available to people. These was it the ADL, SPLC, ACLU? We're fighting hard to make sure that children had access to the most violent, abhorrent materials imaginable. And it's like, as a country, we all should have just stood up and said, no, it's time to get rid of this kind of stuff. But the left-wing feminists had to, over the years, turn around and suddenly be pro all those things, and they just call it like being sex positive or something. It's like, so suddenly that same abusive adult industry, and it's abusive for men and women, where like the OD rate and the self-deletion rate is probably the highest of any industry ever. over like a course of 20 years, feminists have turned around to have to find themselves in a position of having to support it. And you look and go like, okay, so then you really don't have any dogma whatsoever. It's just these puppet masters will pull the strings and tell you what to do. So the communist left is openly advocating violence, and they're actually committing violent acts, and they're threatening anyone who's to the right of them, which is most people. And so far, most of the violence has been from the left wing, but that doesn't mean it's always against the right wing, because over the past 5+ years since the Summer of Love, they've ended up attacking some of their own people by accident. And if I had to look at it, I would guess probably more of their own people in neutral parties than actual right wing people, because they go to events and it's like an event that's all them, and they start fighting, just organic fights, but they'll, have got knives and guns and things develop. They have stabbed each other at events because they thought that the other people who were dressed all in black were the bad guys. It's like you're all dressed exactly the same, and yet you start stabbing people. How do you know? It's just absolutely, it's insane. But it's like they have a lot of chemical dependency and mental illness. I saw a video of a car go through a roadblock, and a BLM member pulls out his Glock with the 33 round and randomly sprays and prays, and he ends up missing the car who was running over commies to escape, but he ended up hitting his own people at the protest. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I missed the minivan who was escaping, and I hit my own guys. And during the Chaz thing, there were like 3 homicides and 6 total shootings. And the funny thing is, it was all the same group of BLM who was doing the shooting, and that demographic were also the victims. And they couldn't, but it's white people who are the problem, right? No, it never has been. And they tried to drive the victim to the hospital, but unfortunately, Antifa had blocked the roads, so he ended up bleeding to death in the back of their car. Then the rest of the violence was spent against outsiders, where BLM murdered a black baby in a car at a roadblock. Because why not? Or you have neutral people panic and they'll blast them. So there's been a lot of friendly fire incidences, mostly due to incompetence and mental illness. So I was hoping they'd bring back the Chaz this summer, but they couldn't quite work up the energy for some reason. Then, of course, they assassinated the most reasonable moderate out there, Charlie Kirk, which should finally awaken the moderate right that being moderate is pointless. These are communists, and they need to be treated as such. But in the left's brainwashed mind, they think Charlie Kirk is far right because their whole life has been raised by globalist Hollywood in one form or another. The programming started with children's shows, and then their idiot teachers using Ghislaine Maxwell's father and Jared Kushner's. They have the publishing company to teach to put the anti-white books in schools and teach these kids the most insane stuff. Their entire worldview is shaped by a moving image in one way or another, and only certain approved books. And they always try to be edgy and say, read banned books. There's like a Reddit banned book list, and you go on there, and it's like, oh, I always ask, have they read Mind Struggle? And they haven't. And you can list a bunch of other books that are actually banned. Like the Turner Diaries, or God, what's that French guy's? Claude Rennis's book. There's a bunch of them, and the books that are actually hard to get, and some of them are not even available on Amazon whatsoever. And on that Reddit post, they go, "Oh no, we don't mean those banned books. Don't read those banned books." And you go, so wait, you mean read the books that are available on Amazon or your local bookstore? Yeah, that's safe, edgy. They claim that like Mein Kampf, it's a book that's actually hard to get, at least in physical copy, and it's written by the person with the ideology that they claim to hate the most, but then none of them have read it, and they just seem to accept that the book list is given to them. It's not discovered for themselves, and that they should trust what other people tell them instead of reading primary sources. So that book ends up achieving cult status. It becomes like the what's the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, some magical tome that they must not ponder. They'll be converted in their mind to Trump, Kirk, Loomer, Shapiro, who are the far right to them, because they think that those guys are in alignment with Hitler, because the left wing is insane. They don't know anything. They know what Hollywood told them, what was the approved narrative. It was the only reason that Greta Thunberg girl had such a following, to follow like a teenager who's never studied physics or climatology or meteorology or geology or anything. She doesn't have a BS, MS, or a PhD. She's just a talking head. She was told something by somebody else and she just repeated it. Why would you listen to a high school kid? It should be absurd on his face, but she was a useful idiot for the media, so they used her. Because it's simply based on naive kids being made to be panicked and not understanding that the same thing happens to every generation. It goes from global cooling to warming to ozone to the weather changing, and you should be very afraid because scared people don't think, they react. Where the sky is falling or the sea levels are rising or the ice caps, and you point out that almost all the world's pollution comes from India, Bangladesh, and China, and then suddenly they're not so interested in the environment when it's the browns who are responsible. They only care if they can point the finger at blonde people. It's a funny reason why the rhino and elephant type of issues in Africa is not a bigger story, because there's no white people involved. It's black poachers who are killing the animals to sell to the Chinese, who are using them in medicine. Instead, they'll do an article on a blonde hunter who kills a geriatric lion that isn't endangered on a reserve, so they can use his hunting fees to pay the counter poachers. So the truth is against the globalist narrative. They don't see blacks with AKs killing rhinos and elephants because the media won't show it. They only show the blonde guy killing an animal. There's one of Trump's kids is posted up next to like a leopard or something, which are not endangered. It's like, is killing a leopard a stupid thing? Yeah, it's a stupid thing to do, to go on a big game. But it's like that $50,000 he paid to kill that leopard that is not endangered and probably breeds like bunnies over there, is paying the counter poachers' salary so they can go out and kill the poachers. So they only show the blonde guy. So the black poachers who are continuing to machine gun animals to sell to Chinese doctors, it just never gets shown on the news because, well, one, they don't want to upset China, and if how many news companies does Disney own? They're not going to have things that focus on the Chinese what do you call that, medicine type of industry. It's like where they have to make animals extinct to use their parts. So most of the left-wing belief system is a lie because it's a filter through globalist media. And the problem for a lot of people is they see the media is lying on one issue and they understand it's widespread, and then they have to throw out the entire media, which you definitely should, the mainstream media anyway. But that's a big psychological hurdle. People use the Matrix analogy, but it really is. It's like to look around and go, oh, everything these six corporations who own the media, Larry Fink and BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard, it's all garbage. You can't take any of it. That you have to cross reference things, and when you look at primary sources, you go, oh, mainstream medias are lying. And how many times over the past 5 years have you seen them edit clips? And the only reason they're getting caught now is because people have cell phones and they're recording so many things, so the media presents one cut of it. The Covington Catholic kids, or Hillary Clinton fainting, or the girl saying something about go down to the suburbs, burn the suburbs down, but don't burn the inner cities because we need our weaves, and CNN edits out burn the suburbs down. The only reason you see that is because everyone has a cell phone. And you see, how many times do you need to see mainstream media repeatedly lie before you go, oh, you have to throw it all out? But people don't want to do it because it's like a pacifier to people. Take the experimental treatment they were pushing, or everyone around you will die. You look around, you go, things actually don't look too bad. There's, I think, fewer sick people. The hospital parking lots are completely empty. So something, and whenever I had to go pick up a prescription or something, the hospital was empty. So something's not adding up. You're getting one story about a narrative coming out of China, and when you calm down and you look at the Chinese videos, you go, this looks like this is designed for psychological horror. This doesn't look real. And go, we're seeing it in China, country can't trust, but we're not seeing this anywhere else. And see bodies in the streets. Like, well, China's got 2 billion people. There's going to be bodies in the street all the time. Then you see them driving the trucks around. It's like, that could be dry ice. That could literally be carbon dioxide for whatever reason the Chinese really have. It's like, if you think you're being played, you're probably being played. It's like, how does China benefit out of it? I don't know. So something wasn't adding up with this story, and they got kids so brainwashed that they wanted to imprison people in camps who didn't take the experimental treatment, which is, I think, what they did in Australia. This is how we get to this absurd point where Charlie Kirk, the open marketplace of ideas Christian family man, is believed by these brainwashed low IQ leftists that he is far right and he deserved to be murdered for having a different opinion. And it's not just a few of them. Twitter over the past 2 days have shown thousands of these people, and a lot of them, a lot of people did get fired because it's too dark, it's too sociopathic, and like the lack of awareness of these people, and it's been mostly women and certain other groups. It's not people who look like me and you. It's not just that the media has done this over a few years. This has been going on since Hollywood started, but it's been such a slow burn. It's like I just saw this movie a couple nights ago on BitChute or Odyssey or something. I think it's called Hollywoodism. It's covers the start of Hollywood and how Hollywood was kind of taken over right from the start. It's you can find it on the alt media channel. It's on YouTube too, but I wouldn't watch a movie on YouTube because they'll edit stuff out. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for everyone over at SubScribeStar, and I will see you guys all next episode.